Hi Year 11, this is video 2 of how to finish off your NEA. So on this video I'm going to be focusing on the evaluation slides. So these are the final few slides in your PowerPoint, always the ones that people rush right at the end, but they are worth quite a few marks. So this section is worth 20 marks, but it's not just these last few slides. So the main sort of slides we need are a comparison to your specification that you wrote right at the end of your sort of research section, where you said it had to be a certain size, a certain cost, all that sort of stuff. You then also need to get some final client testing and feedback on your design, and then you need to also create a slide with any modifications that you might make. So you might think that this sounds like a lot for 20 marks, but also I can get marks all the way through your PowerPoint anywhere that you have shown, because it's actually called analysis and evaluation. It can be from product analysis, it could be from when you've evaluated your designs, it could be client feedback on your designs. So wherever you've shown that in your project, you'll be picking up marks for this section. But there are 3 really key slides that you need to do. They might stretch out over a couple more than just 3 slides, but I'll show you what they are. So the first one is quite an important one. This is an evaluation against the specification that you wrote much earlier in your project. So you can see what this student has done is just basically copied their specification from earlier in the project. This is just copied and pasted. And then they've created a table that then says, does it meet this point? And they've evaluated. So for example, on this one, it says, my target market is for children, try and make it appealing to them. They want to be intrigued by it, discrete colours to make it genderless and suitable for everyone. And what she's then done is she's evaluated it against those points. So she's used genderless colours, there's client feedback that she used, added lights to her design to make it fun and entertaining. So you can see that she's evaluated whether or not her product has met that point. If it hasn't, it's absolutely fine to evaluate it and say why and how you might improve it to make sure it does. And then another part of this is how actually do you know that it's met this point? Is it from client feedback? Is it from evidence of looking at the product or from other people's responses? So explaining how you know it's met this point. Things like size obviously is much easier to do because you can measure it and make sure that it's fit within the size that you specified earlier in the project. But this is basically the first really important part of your evaluation. Looking back at your spec and comparing and evaluating each point to see how well it's met that point and also how you know it has done. So you can see that she has spread this out over 2 pages. But remember, this is copied and pasted, so it's just these bits here that she's written. Okay, so this is quite an important bit, evaluating your final design against your specification, well, your final product. On this slide, we've got some really nice pictures of the product being shown to the client. This is a guaranteed way of making sure you get good marks, showing that you had a real client to begin with, showing them holding, interacting with the product. And then you can see on the next slide, they have asked some questions. They've compared it again to their specification, but asked the client what they think about the aesthetics, the cost, the size, the safety, how it appeals to them as the customer, the environment. And again, you can see them holding the product, interacting with it, and hopefully suggesting some positives as well as some negatives and how those things could be improved. If your product also needs to carry out a certain function, like for example, I know that some people are creating things like desk tidies and things like that. Is it like that or is it like that? I don't know. You might actually want to put the product, you know, in its actual use and put some actual books on it and put it on a desk, you know what I'm trying to do, and show it actually being used in its context. So get your product, take your product home and show it being used. Then this is sort of the last slide. I would say that she could probably have done this slide a little bit better. But it's testing, so you might choose to test maybe 3 important aspects of the product. So if I'm thinking about something from someone in our classes, it could be, does the mechanism turn smoothly? Is it made from environmentally friendly materials? Is everything made really solidly? It's not going to fall apart. Is it, so it could be 3 really key things about the function of your product that you want to test. Is it easily adjustable? Does it hold the things that you said it was going to hold? So you can see that here she's tested the length of the strap on this product, tested the lights, and tested the function of the sort of lid, the cone area. I think she could have taken more photos to show these things. That's just something that could be improved. And then this last little section here is modifications. I would have liked to have seen more sketches in this section. So, for example, if you know that there'd be a really obvious change to your product, you could sketch that improvement, annotate it. You could even use CAD to show it really quickly. So she's done it a little bit here, but I think more of that would be better. Good annotation to explain the changes and why she'd make them, but I think more sketches and more sort of explanation of the improvements that she would actually make would get her more marks in this section. So I think she lost a couple marks in this bit. But by the end of when you've actually finished your product, I think it'll be pretty obvious to you what you need to improve. And it shouldn't be too much of a trouble for you quickly to sketch it out or to add some CAD just to say, oh, I'd change the shape of this, or I'd add this, or... So this is the final sort of slide on here. Then you can see that they've just put some really nice final pictures of their product in, showing it off, showing all of the different elements. And this is when you start to celebrate. You have finished, hooray! And that's 50% of your NEA, well, of your GCSE grade done in PD, which is great. So this is your final slide, some nice photos to show it off. And then I will have a look through all of your PowerPoints and make sure if there's any little things that I think you can improve, give you the time to do that. But apart from that, that would then be done.